We're now in a major election year with the 2022 midterms this fall. But before voters head to the polls, state legislatures may be changing how you vote. NBC News senior reporter Jane Timm joins me now with what voters should watch out for in 2022. Jane, can't believe it already is 2022 as we're talking about this, but we know Democrats on Capitol Hill are trying to pass a voting rights bill. It's, of course, one of President Biden's goals, but it appears laws with opposing goals will pass at the state level and in several states. Walk us through what those laws look like.
Yes, Savannah, those laws are going to look a lot like the laws we talked about all last year. Legislation, especially voting legislation, tends to be kind of contagious through the state. So we're seeing a number of states who are pre-filing or carrying over legislation from the last year that aim to restrict access. Now, these are bills that look at things like mail voting, even partisan ballot reviews like we saw in Arizona, essentially things that would make it harder for people to vote or election administrators to do their jobs. Now, I expect a lot more. These numbers are going to grow. This is what last year's numbers were, but we're going to see more states continue to add new restrictions as they get into their legislative sessions in January and throughout the spring. I'm expecting a similar burst to what we saw last year, which had an unprecedented number of new restrictions and essentially legislating this stolen election claims, these false and baseless accusations of voter fraud in 2020.
Another factor impacting voters this year will be redistricting. We're seeing the fight over redrawing of maps head to courtrooms, actually, including in North Carolina this week. What are you watching out for?
Yeah, in North Carolina, we're seeing one of the first redistricting cases of this cycle. Now, North Carolina has a long and storied history of gerrymandering. They had to redraw their maps 3 different times last year, their congressional maps, as late as 2019, when you usually do your maps in 2011. Now, they're under fire for what advocates say is really partisan gerrymandering to the extreme. We saw a group of experts yesterday on the stand in North Carolina testifying that the only way you could have gotten the maps that the legislature enacted is through real partisan aims. And the legislature says it's a partisan blind map, that they just drew maps that were good for the state. But a bunch of statistics, showed that these were pretty extreme when you looked at the kind of maps that the data would have resulted in if you just put it through a computer or let sort of the regular data, geographic data of North Carolina draw your map.
Jane Timm, lots to watch out for as we kick off a midterm election year. Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.